Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 428 Shibuya Scramble. We basically have everyone done except Minorikawa. I don't think there's a lot left of Osawa, even though there's a decent chunk left in this time block, I guess, but I feel like it's going to skip a lot, since he's already had a lot of story developments. But we haven't even started Minorikawa's story yet. We're gonna head on over. The laptop's busted. No! Minorikawa's cry of despair echoed throughout the cafe. His laptop monitor stared back at him, black and empty. Don't you die on me, buddy! He jabbed his finger sharply at the screen. But the computer gave no response, looking well and truly dead. What the hell? Minorikawa pounded his fist on the table. This would be a worst-case scenario, even if he weren't desperately pressed for time. Guess I'll just have to write by hand then. He rummaged through his bag and pulled out a notebook. I can still do this, he shouted, doing his best to psych himself up for the task ahead. I will still do this. Excuse me, sir? The waitress appeared timidly beside him. What? Minorikawa snapped, his pen still flowing across the paper. Sir, if you could please quiet down. My damn computer just broke. I'm allowed to scream or two. Minorikawa was in no state of mind to be quiet. If it weren't for the deadline he was racing to meet, he'd probably have gone on screaming until he passed out. Your computer is broken, you say? We just peered at the monitor. Yeah, look! It just suddenly stopped displaying anything. Could it be that... the battery is just dead? Minorikawa sat bolt upright. That's it! Just flinched at Minorikawa's fingers jabbed toward her face. I hadn't considered that possibility. Hey, let me plug in somewhere. There's an outlet right there, sir. Pointed out an outlet by Minorikawa's feet, making no attempt to hide her exasperation. Minorikawa plugged in the power cable and the monitor sprang to life as normal. So, now that that's sorted, would you please be quiet, sir? Don't talk to me, you're interfering with my writing! Minorikawa's fingers had already begun dancing across his keyboard. With a sigh, the waitress disappeared back into the kitchen. Oh yeah, now we're talking! Fingers picked up speed as he went about touch typing. Typing at a keyboard without looking at the keys, the aspiration of computer novices everywhere. The typical method involves placing the index fingers on the F and J key, with the middle ring and pinky fingers resting on the A, S, and D, or K, L, and colon, or semicolon, keys, to either side, from which all other keys are easily reached. With practice, a touch typist can instinctively hit the correct keys every time without looking. The pros and cons of surveillance cameras. Proprietor of outdated electronics shop oversees high-tech camera system. Bedlam at bogus weight loss drink sales demo. Bankrupt organizer remains undiscouraged. Now Minorikawa's spirits were riding high. His writing rolled along at a brisk pace. Sir? Waitress again, her voice yanking Minorikawa right out of his soaring mood. Sir! Now what? Has the President of the United States agreed to give me a one-on-one interview? Waitress's eyes went wide with confusion. Uh-huh? Because unless it's something that important, do not speak to me right now. She was undeterred. Sir, please, if you could just be a little quieter. Minorikawa's fingers ceased their rattling across the key. Just what sound do you have a problem with? All I've been doing is writing a copy. Well... For the last while, actually, you've been talking while you write, sir. Talking? Minorikawa tilted his head in confusion. Yes, sir, you've been talking about an electronics store and some bogus weight loss drink. I assume that's what you're writing about. You're saying I've been narrating my copy aloud while writing it? That's right, sir. Other customers sitting nearby were openly snickering. Well, so what? He snapped. He was red in the face now. You should all be delighted that you get to hear what I'm writing before the magazine goes to print. Well, actually, sir, one of our customers has been complaining. Complaining? Of all the nerve, who was it? Where are they? Minorikawa scanned the other patrons, many of whom were unsuccessfully trying to hide their laughter. It was me, the grumpy older fellow who'd been making a scene earlier. Bogus diet fads, peeping security cameras. Reminds me of that sleazy tabloid four-star general gossip I hate so much. Oh, you sure seem to know a lot about it for something you hate so much. The man's face twisted up with scorn. Your behavior is bothering everyone in here, he said. Do you not understand that? No, I don't. Guess a reporter who writes nothing but nonsense prefers nonsense in everything he does. Minorikawa could feel its blood boiling. What was that? Go on, say that again! Oh, gladly. Nonsense, filth, codswabble, flimflam! You bastard! How dare you! Minorikawa stormed over to the man's table. Flimflam indeed? Bogus or insincere content. Things anger Minorikawa more than reporters using dishonest means to create a story. Having his own work called Flimflam would naturally make him blow his top. Just who are you calling Flimflam? The other man stood up and glowered in Minorikawa's face. You utterly lack any manners or sense of decency for starters. I have plenty of manners and decency. I also happen to have a deadline. Bah! As if a flimflam artist like you has a work ethic. Stop calling me flimflam! Beatrice inserted herself between the men. Gentlemen, please, stop fighting! I demand that you remove this man at once, the older fellow barked. He's the one you should be kicking out, Minorikawa shot back. By now, he was ready to go for this guy's throat. Please, the waitress, both of you, return to your seats. She grabbed onto Minorikawa and began to forcibly drag him back to his table. Throw a punch, do it. If it connects, the old guy deserves it. Ah, it's too late for that. Giving in to his anger, Minorikawa threw a punch at the troublemaker. The man dodged nimbly, however. You're not bad. I'm 6th Dan in Judo. Ah, should have mentioned that earlier. Minorikawa hastily retreated to his seat. The other man snorted and sat down with a scowl. The needless interruption, just when he'd finally gotten into writing mode, had all but killed Minorikawa's motivation. He decided he needed to take a breather. He turned to the waitress. 1 spaghetti Napolitan, please. Spaghetti flavored with tomato ketchup. Napolitan is a corruption of Neapolitan. Neapolitan? The dish itself has no connection to the Italian city of Naples. Napoli? I hate language. Rather, it originated as a menu item at a hotel in Yokohama shortly after World War II. There's also a spaghetti dish from Nagoya called Milanese, which likewise has no connection to the Italian city of Milan. Might not have a lot of time to spare, but working on an empty stomach wouldn't do him any favors. While waiting for his order to come out, he decided to read over the copy he'd written so far. When he looked back at the monitor, the screen was blocking it again. Looking down at his feet, he saw that the power cable was now unplugged. Hey, what kind of cafe are you people running here? He shouted. Waitress hurried over, looking combative. Sir, you yanked that out yourself when you stood up earlier. What? A likely story. It's the truth, sir. Minorikawa pointed to one of the customers sitting next to him. Is she telling the truth? Did I really yank my power cord out myself? The man nodded sheepishly. Yeah, well, and that's the outlet's fault for being someplace where the plug so but it unplugs so easily, Minorikawa squawked. Waitress marched away, head held high. Just make sure that spaghetti's delicious, Minorikawa shouted after her. Do that and I'll consider us even. Oh, and load it with cheese. Lots of cheese. He plugged the power cable back in and then let out a heavy sigh. In all his writing fervor, he hadn't thought to save his work. Always make sure to save your work to avoid losing data. Honestly, why is it that your computer only seems to freeze when you've forgotten to save your stuff? Ah, that hits too deep. Probably going to have to rewrite most of what he's done. Excuse me. Minorikawa stood to see a young woman standing there. I'm so sorry, she said. About my father. She gave a tiny bow. Your father? Oh, the ruled old man? He's just a little worked up right now. Please, don't pay him any mind. So what? You waiting on your boyfriend? Huh? The woman was taken aback. I happened to hear you two arguing earlier. Would have been about 2 hours ago? Oh, I see. An awkward and embarrassed smile came to the woman's face. I thought he was going to ask my father for permission to marry me, so we were waiting for him, but he hasn't shown up? No. He must be really busy. She cast her eyes down sadly. Minorikawa took a better look at her. She was gorgeous. A woman with her look wasn't something he saw every day, that was for sure. Say, would you mind talking with me for a bit, he asked. Me? Yeah. I kind of need to turn my mood around here. Well, okay. At least until my father gets back. The woman cast an anxious look toward the restrooms. What's your name? Rumi. Sat down across from him. Wait a second, aren't you... Minorikawa peered at Rumi's face. What are those twins that was chosen as Miss Midoriyama? Rumi shook her head. No, not me. No? Darn. Didn't think I'd be that lucky. Took a sip of his now cold coffee. I do know the girls you're talking about, though, Rumi said. Minorikawa sputtered his coffee in surprise. Ruby squeaked in alarm as the spray splattered her face. Minorikawa leaned in, unconcerned. Do you mean it? You really know them? Yes, Ruby replied. You're talking about the Osawa twins, right? She got out a handkerchief and wiped the coffee from her face as she spoke. Osawa, huh? Minorikawa glanced down at the project proposal on the table. Sexy squared. Twins share top prize at local university beauty contest. Doriyama Academy, Maria and Hitomi Osawa. Yeah, that's it. The Osawa twins. I actually won Miss Midoriyama myself a few years ago. This year I served as one of the judges. Minorikawa adopted a self-satisfied pose. Guess I really was born under the right sign to be a freelancer. The leads just come to me. Sure. Okay, let's talk basics then. Tell me what you know about these girls. Well, I don't really know them personally, Rumi continued to dab at the coffee at her face. But now that you ask, I do remember hearing that they'd entered the contest separately. Wait, separately? Now Minorikawa was a bit confused. Yes, that's right. I'd assumed they'd enter as a pair, but apparently not. I wonder why. I mean, they're twins, don't they look alike? With the same clothes, do everything together, and say the same things at the same time and stuff? Rumi chuckled and shook her head. No, not at all. Besides, those two aren't identical. They're fraternal twins, she said. Twins who were born at the same time from two eggs that were fertilized separately. Fraternal twins do not share the same genetic information. They can differ in such characters as sex and body type, though there are cases of fraternal twins resembling one another almost as closely as identical twins. Maria and Hitomi Osawa happen to look very closely alike, but they do not have the same blood type. Although at a glance they do look very similar. Still, how should I put this? They both give off a very different impression. Oh? Now that sounds interesting. Mind explaining what you mean? Minorikawa opened his memo pad. I talked to them briefly after the award ceremony. The older sister struck me as really energetic, but the younger one was more quiet and reserved. Minorikawa's investigative senses were tingling. Yeah, I wouldn't figure a shy girl would want to enter a campus beauty contest. I suppose not, no. Yeah. I don't suppose you've got anything juicier? Minorikawa asked. Rumi frowned. Would you like to just go ask them yourself? She said. They don't live very far from here. Whoa, hold the phone! Minorikawa could barely believe what had fallen from his lap. The advanced info in the project proposal had mentioned the girls were students at Midoriyama, but hadn't given an actual address. If you could talk to them directly, now that would be pay dirt. Do you know where they live? Well, not exactly. I just heard that they lived in Shoto. Aha, Shoto! I wasn't far away. Car or motorcycle could get there in about 10 minutes. It'd be quicker than going to Midoriyama Academy, and he'd be able to meet with the girls themselves. Minorikawa flashed a quick look toward the restroom. It looked like Ruby's father had just gotten back. Sorry, she said. I should be going. No problem. Thank you. He gave him a quick nod, then hurried back to her seat. Minorikawa grabbed the directory from the public phone and flipped through the pages. To his surprise, there were only 5 listings for the name Osawa with addresses in Shoto. There was neither a Maria nor a Hitomi, but he didn't expect there to be. He needed to find their parents. Wasting no time, he called up the first Osawa on the list. Bingo! Minorikawa couldn't help but pump in excitement. He got in the right place on his first try. Way to go, me! He committed the house number listed in the phone book to memory. Just then, the waitress reappeared with a disgruntled expression in Minorikawa's order of spaghetti Napolitan. Here you are, sir. Oh-ho? Pasta was piled high with an impressive mount of grated cheese. It looked almost like a miniature mountain of snow. It did say lots of cheese, sir, the waitress told him. She set down a canister of cheese and a bottle of Tabasco. Sauce made by the US-based Bikini Company, consisting of hot peppers, green vinegar, and rock salt. Known for its distinctive spiciness, it can also make spaghetti and pizza quite tasty with the addition of just a few drops. Tabasco also goes pretty well with ramen and curry. Recommended for times when flavor is lacking a little punch. However, even 1 drop may be too much for those who can't handle spicy things. It has been claimed that Tabasco was first imported to Japan by a certain well-known former pro wrestler, but that story is untrue. Oh, this looks good, Minorikawa exclaimed. He twirled some spaghetti up with his fork and shoved it into his mouth. The slightly sour sweetness of the ketchup blended perfectly with the mellow flavor of the cheese. Ah, that is tasty! There was nothing like satisfying rub to lift spirits. He turned back to his laptop, still wolfing down the spaghetti. Alright, we're back in action! Let's do this! Yet again, he unthinkably blurted his words out as he slipped back into writing mode. I've got this! I've got this! Ketchup smeared around his mouth, he set his fingers tapping away at the keys. The waitress let him down with another groan of dismay. Huh? You say something? Minorikawa glanced in her direction, but the waitress faked a smile. No, sir, I don't think so. Yeah, well then, go away! You're distracting me! The moment he looked away, she clenched her fist in indignation. Nothing, sir. Good luck with your work, sir. I don't need luck. I've got this. Eyes jumping back and forth between pasta and computer, Minorikawa got to work on his copy once more. Before long, he was oblivious to every sound in the cafe around him. When he finally snapped out of writing mode, he glanced at his watch. It was 2:20. Almost time for him to head to the next interview. Better get a move on. Kimizuka's taxi came by just as Minorikawa was hurrying out of the cafe. Well, what a pleasant surprise, Minorikawa called out. Nice timing, my man. Kimizuka's startled look quickly vanished behind his expression of professional resignation. You need a ride, sir? You know it, Minorikawa replied. First, head to Shoto. After that, I'll need to get to Sakuragaoka. As he cast his gaze out at the sights of the city, Minorikawa mulled over his plan for the next part of the day. First, he'd interview the Miss Midoriyama girls. Then he'd meet with the head of that theater troupe. In order to leave himself enough time to write his copy, that meant... I'd like to get this all wrapped up in 20 minutes, he said. Can you make that happen? Kimizuka flashed a grin. That will incur a special fare, sir. Oh, special, Minorikawa said as he got settled in the seat. I love that word. Minorikawa stepped on the gas. Oh wait, no, that can't be right. Kimizuka stepped on the gas. Shibuya was a town of contrasts. It was a town of young people, unpretentious, energetic. Scramble intersection in Center Gai perfectly conveyed that vibrancy. However, if one turned right at the 10-9 building and headed down Bunkamura Dori, the town's whole atmosphere changed. Shoto was one of Shibuya's, indeed, one of Tokyo's most upscale residential districts. Wherever one looked, there was stately manor houses giving off an imposing air, sending the message that this was no place for the common folk. Right here's fine. Minorikawa directed Kimizuka to pull over. Wait here for me. I'll be right back. Hopping out of the taxi, he checked the nameplates of the nearby homes. Ah, here we go. Spotted a nameplate that read Osawa. Kenji Osawa, huh? Name nagged at him somehow. It had been in the back of his mind ever since he'd seen it in the phone book back at the cafe. He heard it someplace before. He walked up to the gate and pressed the button for the intercom. Even the little chime it made when pressed sounded delicate. Minorikawa waited, but there was no response. Looked at his watch. It was 2:30 now. The interview with Shinosuke Oerai of the Wandering Angels was supposed to have started already. Episode 3, with the help from Shinichi Bondo, Bondo was able to get out of his apartment. Then, when all the players had finally assembled, the troupe proceeded with one last rehearsal before showtime. But again, tragedy struck. Bondo came down with food poisoning after eating his lunch. He was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance, and the Angels were once again lacking an actor for their key role of Shido. Oerai was on the verge of panic. Finally, however, he came up with a solution. Novice actor Takuya Amo, age 31, would take on the part. Continued in episode 4. Still, he wanted to meet with the twins first, if it was possible. He had to make a choice. He decided to wait a little bit longer. Just 5 more minutes. Suddenly, a man's voice came through the intercom. Yes, who is it? It sounded rather guarded. It's Minorikawa. Where might I know you from, Mr. Minorikawa? Oh, you know, here and there. I mean, there's only one Minorikawa, really. Are you playing games with me? I don't have the time for that. Please, just open up. No way I'm letting you in. This discussion was getting nowhere. Minorikawa decided he'd have to take the direct approach. Look, could you just hold your horses? I'm here for an interview. You got that? Interview? You're taking the bait. Most folks would hardly resist the word interview. That's right. It's a piece for 4-star general gossip. Wait. This is for one of those kinds of articles. The man sounded angry now. What do you mean, those kinds of articles? I'm just looking for an interview. Like hell you are. I'm not talking to anyone from the gossip. You're not the one I'm here to talk to. I want to interview your twin daughters. My daughters? No parent would deny their children a chance for word of their achievements to spread. I understand they won a shared prize for a beauty contest at Midoriyama Academy. If you don't mind my interviewing them, Their comm cut off before Minorikawa could finish. Hey, what gives? I'm begging out here. I'm on my hands and knees. He wasn't actually on his hands and knees, but whoever was on the other end couldn't see that. If your daughters aren't home, can you at least tell them I want to get in touch with them? He wasn't even using the intercom now. He was just shouting over the gate. The man stepped out of the front door. Give me your business card, he said. I'll have them get in touch with you later. The man had a somewhat stricken look on his face. This had to be Kenji Osawa then. Wait, hold on. Osawa? Now Minorikawa recognized him. This was Kenji Osawa, the prominent virologist who worked for Okoshi Pharmaceutical. 4-star General Gossip had run a scandalous article on him in the past. Minorikawa remembered reading it. He held out his business card, and Osawa snatched it from him. The virologist started to head back into his house. Please see that they get back to me, Mr. Osawa, Minorikawa shouted after him. And then he noticed something odd. It was the middle of the afternoon, but every window in the house had its curtains drawn. That, combined with Osawa's demeanor, set off alarm bells in Minorikawa's head. He knew he was onto something. He couldn't linger at the Osawa residence any longer than he already had. He needed to get to the theater ASAP. He headed back to the taxi and told Kimizuka to go. A few minutes later, the rear tire skidded sharply as the cab came to a stop beside a different curb. The trip from Shoto to the theater in Sakuragaoka had taken almost no time at all. Here we are, sir, Kimizuka announced. Oh, wow, that was fast. Still, Minorikawa was at least 5 minutes behind schedule. He hoped he'd still be able to get the interview with Oirai. Keep out! Fuck. It's probably this. Yep. Minorikawa got his wallet out of his jacket to pay the driver. Oh no, Kimizuka said, waving a hand. Don't worry about the fare. Huh? Why not? There's still plenty left over from what you paid me earlier, sir. That's what I meant by special fare. That's right, he paid Kimizuka a whole 10,000 yen for taking him to Endo Electronics earlier. But, I mean, I'm not the sort of person to keep the change, as it were, Kimizuka said. Minorikawa felt a surge of pride at those words. You're my kind of guy, Mr. Kimizuka. A man on the job can always count on Hachiro Kimizuka's taxi, the driver grinned. Now go on. Go! Thank you. I have a feeling we'll meet again. As Minorikawa entered the theater lobby, he saw a bunch of flower bouquets, patrons' gifts of appreciation. Among the names of the senders were celebrities he recognized. The largest of the bouquets was sent by Koichi Nakamura of the secret society Chonsoft. The next largest came from Marutaro Ishihara from the government organization Joy Art. Okay. Following that were from actress Barako Rose, popular scenario artist Ebisu Ippon-matsu, Tohoku Bus Tours Company Limited, bus guide Kimiko Amo, professional baseball player Masa Narikiyo, ventriloquist Shin, ukulele player Hawae Matsuda, online TV critic Genzo Akitsu, and so on. Christ. Evidently, the Wandering Angels were a pretty popular acting troupe. Episode 4. Novice actor Takuyo Amo, despite his nervousness, gave a credible performance as Shindo as the production got underway, but as the show continued, his inexperience became apparent. He went on stage for the big wire action scene, having forgotten to attach himself to the rigging. Tozuka was quick to act, rushing on stage in an improvised role of assassin with an Edo accent #1, and fixing a rope to Amo's back. People were setting out pamphlets and flyers out on a nearby table. There was a palpable tension in the air. The crew seemed skittish as they went about their work. He's late, someone shouted all of a sudden. There's a man over in the corner of the lobby, railing angrily to no one in particular. Why the hell hasn't that journalist shown up yet for the interview? Looked like he'd been waiting on Minorikawa then. What's his deal pulling this while we're this busy? Guess that's Shinosuke Oirai. I've been busy myself, Minorikawa said, keeping his composure. Trust me, and I know how it goes. Huh? Who the hell are you? I'm the guy you've been waiting for. Mr. Or I? The man glared at him. It's Oirai, he said. Yeah, anyway, I'm Minorikawa. Sorry to keep you waiting. Though really, a short wait is a small price to pay for the chance to be interviewed by me. Well, I hope you appreciate how valuable my time is, now that you're taking it, snapped Orai. Well, someone sure has a high opinion of himself, Minorikawa replied. He marched up to Orai. Damn right I do. I'm Shinosuke Orai. Man, the theater man got right up in Minorikawa's face. Like anyone even cares! A jolt of tension sparked between the two men. Around this time, there's a similar jolt of tension between two other people, Kenji Osawa and Mamoru Tanaka. I beg your pardon, Gordon interrupted, but Mr. Arai does have a schedule to keep. And who are you, Miss Tsukuzawa? I'm the producer. Well, listen, Sue! I'm in the middle of an interview here. Please don't interrupt me. What? That's how you conduct an interview? That's right. This is how I roll. Look, whatever, Arai growled. Let's just do this already. Fine by me. Two men sat down at opposite sides of the table in the lobby, but Tsukuzawa spoke up again. Mr. Arai, don't forget the meeting you have after this. Yeah, handle that, would you? Minorikawa let out a derisive snort. It's like you're holding court, he said. Do you people actually hang around you with that kind of attitude? You have no right to judge my acting troupe. Minorikawa straightened up in his chair, a mocking smile on his lips. Oh, so it's your acting troupe, huh? He said. Why not just play all the roles yourself? Heck, you could even be your own audience. How dare you? Arai rose to his feet and made to leave, but Tsukuzawa herded him back down into his chair. Minorikawa continued this as if he hadn't heard. Just what is it that you do anyway? He asked. Arai raised an incredulous eyebrow. You don't know? No. Why should I? You came to an interview without knowing anything about who you were interviewing? Yep. That's it. Get out! Arai roared and pointed angrily to the exit. How dare an unmannered clod like you come in here and waste my time! Hey, who's been unmannered now? I came all the way out here to hear your story, didn't I? Why don't you get out? Minorikawa pointed at the exit as well. Why the hell should I have to leave? Arai demanded. This is my house! Theater jargon for the theater itself, mainly the main auditorium. Look, just get out! This time both yelled and pointed toward the exit in unison. Tsukuzawa quickly interposed herself between them, forcing a smile. Gentlemen, please calm down, she said. Then she turned to Minorikawa. You should be aware that Mr. Arai used to be a broadcast writer. Someone who writes for television or radio programs. A great show depends on not only on actors' performances, but on the skills of the broadcast writer. He's responsible for a lot of big hits. You don't need to mention that, Arai grumbled. Nonetheless, Tsukuzawa rattled off the names of several shows. Minorikawa did indeed recognize many of them. Alright. So, how come you're running a failing theater now? Failing? Arai went red in the face. Not wrong, am I? You are absolutely the rudest person I have ever met! What would a rank amateur like yourself know about theater? Arai's face was dark with rage, but Minorikawa didn't back down. Listen, this has nothing to do with how well your theater is or isn't doing, he snapped. The television world wouldn't accept you, so in order to retain your pride as an entertainer, you started doing theater. Isn't that so? Don't act like you know anything. I've staked my entire life on theater. Damn it. It seemed as if Arai might throw a punch at any moment. Sure, a city theater might seem small time compared to TV, but you got a lot more of a response from that. Response? Oh, now that sounds interesting.
Darn right, Arai exclaimed. You could see it from up on stage. The audience, you could see their faces. Passion in Arai's voice now. Really feel it. When the audience is enjoying themselves, you can feel that energy. Can't get that from doing television. Thinking back on it now, my time spent working on TV. Let's see, what's a good analogy? It's like being handed a towel that's already damp. No, that's not right. Okay, so a better analogy would be... Oh, wait, that was him talking? Oh, I guess it was. And without further preamble, Orion began talking about his tribulations back in his broadcast writer days. Minorikawa smiled inwardly. The interview ended promptly after 15 minutes, the time that had been promised. Both men emerged from it as if from a daze. Minorikawa found himself staring Orion in the face, shaking him by hand. So, what kind of story did I just get? He asked, speaking half to himself. Heard about one man in his life. I have to admit, it was a good interview. Thanks. You have my gratitude. Satisfied smile, Minorikawa closed his notebook. Right. Glad to hear it, then. Rai inclined his head, looking bewildered. A flustered Tsukuzawa interrupted. Mr. Minorikawa, wasn't this interview for a piece about the performance? Huh? Minorikawa blinked. It's just that you were only asking about Mr. Orai and not about the performance itself, Tsukuzawa said. Ah, I see what you mean. Actually, I came here for a piece I'm going to be writing called Where Are They Now? Washed Up Broadcast Writer Showcase. I washed up! Orai was red in the face all over again. You bastard, how dare you! Forget everything I just told you. I do not give you my permission to use it in your magazine. You're too late. What? I've already heard your whole story. You should be grateful that I'll be writing a piece on it. You bastard! With a wild look in his eyes, Arai snatched up a hammer. The stage crew had left nearby. Go on, hit me! Oh, I'll hit you all right. Arai waves the hammer menacingly. But the attack came to a sudden halt as a ringtone startled him out of his fury. Hold on a moment, Minorikawa said brightly. Yeah, I have to take this. He whipped out his cell phone. Hello, Minorikawa speaking. This is Osawa. Wow, he called back a lot sooner than Minorikawa had expected. Have your daughters come home then? No. Actually, there's a favor I'd like to ask you. Favor? Minorikawa thought back to his visit to the Osawa residence. Drawn curtains, the stricken look on Osawa's face. Minorikawa's instincts had sensed something significant going on. Apparently getting the full story wasn't going to come without some cost. Favor, huh? Is it something urgent? I'll pay whatever I have to. I just need you to look into something as quickly as possible. His voice had a telltale desperation of a man who'd been backed into a corner. All right, Minorikawa said. I can help you out for a little while. Osawa hurriedly explained what he was after. The request was a strange one. He wanted Minorikawa to look into a scandalous article that 4-star general gossip had run about him in the past. What makes this so important? Do I have to say? I mean, you're asking me to look into something without explaining anything. He eyed Arai, who was lurking nearby with obvious irritation. Minorikawa would need to calm down the erstwhile broadcast writer, or else his interview really would be for naught. He decided to bluff both men at the same time. Let me just say one thing, he said into the phone. He made sure he spoke loud and clear so that Arai would overhear. I want to tell the world this story. No, I need to tell it. If I don't feel that way about something, no amount of money in the world will get me to write an article on it. That's my pride as a writer at work. Minorikawa could see Arai's aura of rage fading as he listened. Peterman looked surprised. Whew. Meanwhile, Osawa had decided to open up a bit. All right, he said. I can't share all the details, but... Okay, now he's in a talkative mood now. Good job, Minorikawa. See, this is going fine. Power balance of the entire world might be at stake here, Osawa continued. And I mean that quite literally. I can tell you more after you're done investigating. Wait, was he serious? How could the world's balance of power hinge on looking into some alleged marital affair? It was so absurd that Minorikawa had to fight the urge to burst out laughing. A person would need to be out of his mind to believe a story like that. But Minorikawa wasn't the average person. Sometimes, the truth was so ridiculous it really was stranger than fiction. Osawa wasn't lying. Minorikawa's instincts told him that much. All right, he said. I'll check the editing department's notes from back then. Minorikawa felt his excitement building. Things were really getting interesting for the moment. He nearly forgot Toyama and his troubles. When he ended the call, Arai approached him and extended his hand. Listen, your methods might be a little extreme, but I can tell you take pride in your work. Of course I do. Sorry for getting so worked up. I bet you'd write a fine article about me. So please, Mr. Minorikawa, let the world know about me and my half-lived life. Minorikawa took the offered hand and shook it. Leave it to me. Once I'm done with it, you won't just be some washed-up nobody anymore. Mr. Orai. It's Orai. Minorikawa grinned. Minorikawa rushed out of the theater. He'd completed all the interviews that he could get done before 4 o'clock. Now he had an hour left to write it all up and convince the folks in the loan company that the gossip could stay afloat. Arrgh! Better roar, psyche himself up for the final push. He continued. Oh, thank God. This man's fucking... man's constant screaming in aggravation. Trying to fucking relay that information. Fucking hurts me. Oh, crap. Felt tension. Here we go. Last jump. Osawa picked up his cell phone and dialed Tanaka's number. The phone rang several times. He listened grimly to the empty mechanical sound, preparing himself for disappointment. What is it? Tanaka's voice sounded coldly in Osawa's ear. The tension was electric. Osawa felt a surge of outrage. He wanted to scream. But he took a deep breath and managed to maintain control. Tanaka, where are you? Are you all right? Tanaka did not reply. Police told me. Said you were connected to the kidnapping. A soft chuckle came from the other end of the line. Ah, well, police sure do know how to do their jobs. Tanaka's tone was unapologetic. It sounded nothing like the man Osawa thought he knew so well. Why would you do this? Money? Are you having money troubles? Money, Tanaka replied. I suppose that's part of it. Honestly, I doubt you'd understand. Do you have any idea what it's been like for me doing our research together? You're always the one who takes center stage. The fruits of our success are all yours, even though you couldn't have done any of it without me. The more he said, the more vitriol seethed into his words. Osawa's hands trembled as he clutched the phone. The taker can never understand how it feels to be taken from. You've hoarded so many things to yourself. So I'm taking some of them back. And with that, he hung up. Hey! Tanaka! Ugh. Osawa dialed the number again, but Tanaka didn't pick up. Osawa racked his brain, thinking back on how Tanaka had been acting earlier that day. Had there been anything unusual? Any clues at all, no matter how small? If he could find some hint, maybe he'd be able to find Maria and Hitomi. That was it! I had been suspicious of Tanaka all along. So much so that she'd planted a bug on him hitting in a clip tie. Her suspicions must have been pretty strong. Wait, Osawa recalled what Kajiwara had said. But still, if she is that worried, giving a tie clip as a gift is a bit... The words had struck Osawa as odd when he first heard them. I had never given him a tie clip. His heart gave a heavy throb in his chest. It couldn't be. No, it was impossible. That article from 4-star General Gossip crept back into his mind. The article had talked about a man I had dated before she married Osawa. The man's identity was never revealed. Could it have been Tanaka? You hoarded so many things to yourself, so I'm taking some of them back. Tanaka's cold words took on a new depth of meaning. Osawa felt the foundations of his life begin to crumble. Were Tanaka and I accomplices in all this? No. Wait. Just calm down. He couldn't let himself jump to conclusions. He needed to be more level-headed. Everything depended on it. If the two really were accomplices, why would I have planted a bug on Tanaka? What purpose would that serve? What could it mean? It was no use. Osawa couldn't think of how that made sense. First things first. He needed to establish what the relationship between I and Tanaka really was. Once he figured that out, he'd be able to get a better handle on the situation. Obviously, he couldn't just go and ask I directly. If she really was involved in all this, she certainly wouldn't tell him the truth. Osawa thought back to the business card he'd tossed into the trash. He didn't relish the thought of getting help from the scavenging hyena. Now was no time to be picky. He wasn't able to leave the house. He needed someone else to do investigating for him. Freelance writer. Noru Minorikawa. He was Osawa's only hope. Oh shit. That's just straight up to be continued for him.
Yo! This person also killed my friend. Everyone in Shibuya is going to die. Was this an accident or an attack? He's after Hitomi Osawa! How many hours ago was she infected? The 3 o'clock
block. I got an achievement, infection. Whoa, holy shit. He went so far down.
Forgot to mention the man with the cane
Mastermind. Okay. Cool. We got through the 2 o'clock block. But now... Okay, come on. Alright. Now we have to figure out how I'm going to be getting the bad endings. Alright, so by the end of this, I should have 41 bad endings. So, how many do I have? No, that's triangle. Oh, you want to hear this guide again for the 15th time? Alright, so I have 35, nothing, 37. So I'm missing one more from Osawa. Possibly. Yeah, I got cats. You know, I guess that's something. Let me look back through. There was one, actually. Some new pickup trick. Because this, like, she either takes the elevator or she takes the stairs. So, based on that, what does this affect?
It affects Achi. Okay. I figured, probably.
Since they're the most connected. Achi took the escalator down to the 3rd floor, and there was a Hitomi standing right at the open, search for high and low. Yeah, here we are. Something was off. Go what gives. Huh? Achi tried to make sense. She walked away. Hitomi? What are you doing? Why is my fucking eye so itchy all of a sudden? Snappers were closing in. Alright. Headed in the direction Hitomi had gone and came to a stairwell. What the hell is going on? Had she gone up? Down? Achi frowned in consternation. Hey! Stop right there! He heard shouting coming from down below. Then came the sound of footsteps rushing up the stairs. Hitomi? Someone chasing her? Achi bolted down the stairs before he could mull it over too much. Down on the landing, he ran into a man who was pale in the face. You gotta help me! The man went and cowered behind Achi. 2 thuggish-looking men came up the stairs after him. Hand him over, kid. Yeah, don't make us do nothing we'll both regret. 2 guys bullying some frail old man? Achi huffed. You want me to just turn a blind eye while this goes down? Yeah, that's not gonna happen. The younger fellow, the one who looked like a small-time gangster, sneered. No, you're gonna want to turn a blind eye to this little man. It's gonna get bloody. By the way, Achi asked, either of you see a girl around here? Super cute, about yay tough. Gangster suddenly threw a jab with his fist, and Achi dodged on reflex. Punch wound up catching the man hiding from behind him in the face instead. Oh, whoops. Achi realized his mistake a moment too late. Oh. The man splayed out onto the floor. Well, my bad, Gramps. You okay? Achi hunkered down and slapped the man in the face. Hey, come on, stay with me. It's no use. I'm done for. Please, look after Hana. Minorikawa. The man's muttering was all but incomprehensible. Hey, Achi said, this guy seriously needs to go to the hospital or he's in big trouble. You guys go call a hospital. He needs... Achi looked back. The man in the sunglasses was standing over him, holding up a fire extinguisher. Wait. Why wait for an ambulance when the fire department's already here? The bottom of the fire extinguisher came right down on Achi's face. But I didn't call for the fire department. I didn't call for the fire department. Whilst chasing after Hitomi, Achi made a run-in with some Yakuza and got beaten up. But actually, the girl Achi was following wasn't Hitomi. In order for Achi to avoid this disastrous fate, the girl needs to run off in a different direction. Head to a different floor. Alright.
Alright, so there's another, like, immediate thing that I can think of.
And that's...
Yeah, the Syndicate's goals.
because this will affect how Osawa reacts. So if I say they're after him, he'll probably act strangely. It's you. Osawa remained silent. For Osawa, is everything alright? The line went dead. Kano certainly chided. I would have put it more like this. They're after Hitomi because she had the antiviral.
Yeah, I know that.
But if they're after the antiviral, that makes the person who created it a potential target as well, right? Ah, indeed. Looks like you do have some brains after all, Stanley flashed Kano a thin smile.
And then they continue, but Osawa... Yeah, Osawa acts differently. Oh, Minorikawa also acts differently.
Interesting.
What?
Osawa was so startled that his voice caught in his throat. What are you talking about? Info, top secret, yada yada. Alright, here we go. Osawa staggered out of the living room. He needed to be alone. To his surprise, Kajiwara didn't try to stop him. Shutting his study door behind him, he dropped onto his sofa and then pulled out a bottle of pills. He stared at it, thinking back on what the detective had told him. I know what the syndicate is really after, Mr. Osawa. It's you. Detective Kano had a point. From a financial perspective, Osawa's discoveries, and indeed Osawa himself, were incredibly valuable. Immersed as he was in his research, he had never imagined he'd become a target. The kidnappers had used that artlessness to catch him completely off his guard. He thought back to the emails that A had sent him. For now, they were just stringing him along. Before long, the guilt bombs might turn into more direct threats. They would extort his money, steal his research, and finally, have him killed. So easy to see what their plan was now. And worst of it was, he wasn't their only target. Kidnapping Maria would only be A's first step. Osawa contemplated in horror how his family would all be victimized because of him. There was only one thing he could do. He poured a mound of sleeping pills onto his hand. Then, without any hesitation, he gulped down the lot. The effect on his body was slow to start, but he felt a deep and irresistible drowsiness begin to creep over him, as his consciousness was starting to fade. He heard the distinct sound of the front door chime. Moments later, the stick door opened, and Kajiwara peered inside to see Osawa laying on the floor. Mr. Osawa! Are you okay? Mr. Osawa! The detective's voice was rapidly fading out. Osawa surrendered to the irresistible urge to drift into sleep. His mouth gaped open. A has come for me. Those were his last words. A threat of A. When he heard that he was the kidnapper's target, the stricken Osawa decided to commit suicide by overdosing on sleeping pills. This is all because of what Kano said to him. A simple error in word choice led to Osawa to a completely wrong conclusion. I don't know how to properly inform Osawa just what the kidnappers are after. Okay. Then there's this. You had to make a choice. Decided to wait a little bit longer. Just 5 more minutes. Front door flew open. Several men came rushing out and surrounded Minorikawa.
Whoa, what?
Minorikawa blurted. What gives?
We have material witness A in custody. Material witness A? What are you talking about? Just who do you guys think I am? I'm Minorikawa. Hey, come on, let me go!
Despite his protest, the men held on to him, flashing police badges. They refused to explain what was going on.
This is an unlawful arrest. All it'll take is one blur from me and you're all fired. Do I make myself clear? Are you even listening to me? Hey, listen up! Listen to me!
Minorikawa's voice was drowned out, lost in the Detectives frenzied, shouting. Material Witness A. Minorikawa got arrested without even knowing what he'd done wrong. Needless to say, he's not actually Material Witness A. This all happened because of something Osawa said. Only said it because of something someone else had said to him. Further along in Osawa's story, you should be able to find out who said the wrong thing. Alrighty. Now we'll just jump back to this. Pick Hitomi, and then we should all be fine. It's Hitomi. And it's done. Now everyone can get to the 3 o'clock block. I don't think I saw an achievement. Hang on. Hang on. Fuck off. Right. So we got 35, 36, 37, 38. Oh, I'm missing 39. What's 39? A mysterious man. 39, 30. It's either Osawa or Minorikawa. What else? Oh yeah, I could do the other one for him. You deal with it. And that does keep out, and that puts Minorikawa there. Wait a little bit longer. It's 5 more minutes. That's right. Now, I will answer. A woman's voice came through the intercom. Who is it? It's Minorikawa. Where would I know you from, Mr. Minorikawa? Oh, you know, here and there. I mean, there's only one Minorikawa, really. I don't have time for such nonsense. Please, be on your way. I'm not going anywhere until I get an interview. Interview? Who are you with? The woman's tone has changed now. David Minorikawa could simply talk his way through this. This is a piece for 4-star general gossip. Ah, perfect. I've been wanting to talk to them. Is this one of Miss Midoriyama? One of the Miss Midoriyama winners? Or perhaps it was the girl's mother, eager to boast about her daughter's achievement. I assume you're familiar with defamation of character, the woman said. What are you talking about? Article 230 of the Penal Code of Japan defines it as any attack against a person's reputation or societal standing. It's a very serious crime. I know what it is, Minorikawa said. What's your point? He had a bad feeling about this. Why discuss libel laws right before an interview? Oh, I'm not letting you get away with telling me you've forgotten. I wonder if you'll remember once I bring up charges. The tone was calm and level, but laced with malice. You're talking nonsense, lady. Are you the mother? I've got business with your daughters. Put one of them on the line. Nonsense! The woman's wrath radiated from the intercom. It's your 4-star general gossip that specializes in nonsense. The voice was so loud that it was cracking. Detective, arrest this man! He's a criminal! Detective? Huh. You don't really think I'd fall for that, do you, lady? Just who do you think I am? I'm Minoru Minorikawa. He crossed his arms and struck a defiant pose. Then the front door opened up and several men came trotting out. Sir, one of the men said, we'd like to ask you a few questions. At the word sir, the man flashed his badge and Minorikawa turned to run on reflex. He hadn't thought she'd actually send detectives after him. Just what the hell had Heaven published done to her? Never mind, he needed to get out of here. He couldn't afford to get arrested right now. Out with it! You abducted that girl, didn't you? Detective, you keep asking me the same question over and over.
And I'll keep asking until you tell me the truth.
Look, ask all you want, but I can't tell you what I don't know. Then let's go back to the beginning, shall we? Ah, cut the crap. I don't have time for your games. As a matter of fact, you have plenty of time.
As a matter of fact, you have plenty of time. I can assure you of that. Stubborn detective flashed him a grin. I can keep doing this for days if that's what it takes to get you to confess. And so the interrogation went on for hours. In the end, once his innocence had been established, Minorikawa was finally released. He wrote a scathing indictment on his experience. The report shook up the system in a major way. But that's another story for another day. Bad end. Wrongly accused. Minorikawa was arrested for a crime he had nothing to do with. That woman he talked to must really, really hate the 4-star General Gossip. Clearly, he had no hope of getting anywhere with her, but maybe there's someone more understanding who might answer the intercom instead. Ah, there it is. Bad times, 2 o'clock block.
Alright, cool.
Now we're gonna jump... Here? No. No. Here. No. I don't remember. No, it is here. Alright. There we go. Now everyone is ready for the 3 o'clock block. And I am ready to stop because my fucking throat hurts.
So thank you all for watching, especially if you got this far. Stick around. There's a lot more to come.